Revenge takes only the one who seeks it.
Hello, this is Doubt of Aztech, and this is my Genji guide. So, right now I believe Genji is still one of the most powerful ranged assassins in the game, due to his exceptional kit. His exceptional base kit, I mean to say. Because Swift Strike is one of the most powerful abilities in the game, basic abilities in the game. It has high mobility, high damage, resets. It's very oppressive when used well, essentially. So I believe, until it's changed, Genji is probably going to remain very, very strong. So I'm going to make a guide on him today. So, the first build I'll talk about is, of the three builds I'll go over today, is Genji's E build. This is his most standard build. This is the build that focuses on Swift Strike, which is his most powerful base ability, and one of the most powerful base abilities in the game even. So it's a good build. So we'll start with this one. So Swift as the Wind is your level 1 talent. This is gonna give you movement speed, 30% movement speed for 3 seconds upon hitting a hero with Swift Strike. This will essentially let you kite more, let you E in more, kite away, E through their whole team when you get resets, E back through the team, position to hit more shuriken. It's just very strong with the build. Swift as the Wind. Strike at the Heart at 4 will be the pick. This is the E talent. This will give us extra damage at the end of our E. It's just very strong. We'll be getting resets with this build. We'll be getting more E's. More damage on our E's is always good. This will be the Q talent, and Dragon Claw's a bit grief. 7's Genji's most variable talent tier. I'd say 4 of them are viable. I'm not really sure about the top one. I don't see it picked much. Perfect Defense will be the standard. This will just give you more deflects, which is always good. You're always going to take some damage, always going to take some cooldown reduction. It's better in some circumstances than others, but if you don't need Cyber Shield or dodge doesn't look good, then definitely go into Perfect Defense. Cyber Shield is... what it means is using Cyber Agility. Your trait grants 50 spell armor for 2.5 seconds. This is very strong when there will be predictable ability damage coming your way. It's particularly useful against Tracer's Pulse Bomb, or Kel'Thas's Pyroblast, or just mages in general. It can be quite strong. Dodge is probably only going to be picked 5% of the time these days. Only really when you don't see the value in these talents, and the enemies have heroes that have very high auto attacks or crits, such as Chrome's Bronze Talons, Stukov's base attack, or maybe Greymane if they don't, if the other talents don't look good. We'll just take Perfect Defense as the standard. Genji's level 10 is variable. X-Strike is being picked more these days than it used to. Dragon Blade's taken a few nerfs. It's still the stronger ult, but sometimes you're just going to be facing, like, Genji will still be picked into an enemy team comp where Dragon Blade, it's just very hard to do a good Dragon Blade. You're going to get CC'd out of it, you're going to get popped by Twilight Dream, or a Diablo combo, or something like that. Genji can be picked without Uther these days as well, so you're not always going to have a Divine Shield or an allied ability to help you survive in Dragon Blade, so X-Strike can be very strong as well. X-Strike can be very useful if you need to dodge a lot of CC, and also as burst follow-up to AoE crowd control by your team, such as taunts or mosh pits or something like that. But Dragon Blade's the standard, especially with E-build, because it will help give you E-resets. 13 with E-build is Full Like Water. This is the real cornerstone talent. Each enemy hero hit with Swift Strike reduces its cooldown by 3 seconds. I'll show you how this works. We'll take it down to the target dummies down here. So for every hero you hit, you reduce the cooldown by 3 seconds. The cooldown is 12 seconds as base, so if you hit 4 enemy heroes, you'll immediately get an E reset. So there are 3 here. If we go through them, the cooldown will go to just to 3 seconds, which conveniently lines up with the movement speed bonus you're going to get from Swift as the Wind. So you can E through, kite with extra movement speed, and then go back through their team. It's very strong, especially at 16, where you're going to get additional damage. So there's 2 E talents that are going to add damage at this tier. The problem with Final Cut is what it does is after 1 second you're going to get extra damage on your E in a second line of damage. This isn't always going to hit. The enemy team are more likely to be able to move out. The person you're hitting is more likely to be able to move away than if you were to take Steady Blade, which is much more guaranteed damage. Each enemy hero hit by Swift Strike increases the damage of the next Swift Strike by 20%. It stacks 3 times. This is very, very nice. It's a lot of extra damage. So you'll build it up. You can see the Steady Blade stacked. Yeah, we've hit 3 heroes. It's stacked 3 times. And we go back through and we're going to get a lot of extra damage. Look at that. A lot more damage. As you'll be doing a lot more E's, getting a lot more damage. We're getting resets. It's very, very strong. And 20 is going to be your ult upgrade. The other towns just don't really compare. So the Dragon Becomes Me, despite nerfs, is still very strong. And Living Weapon can have devastating results for the enemy team. So let's E-build. Alright, let's get into the next main build, which is Q-build. So this will focus on the Shuriken abilities, the Shuriken talents, and especially Shingan at 13. So a lot more damage from your Q, and it has a different method of engage. So this build is stronger in PvE, it's stronger in ganking as well, and it can be very strong against heroes with large hitboxes, such as Kel'Thas or Gul'dan, or heroes like that. So with this build, you'll go Agile Dismount. What this does is it gives you a more range on your trait, your Cyber Agility, and it'll reduce the cooldown. So what this means is Cyber Agility, instead of becoming just a mobility tool to move around in a team fight or an escape, will actually become your engage. You'll jump on people, get your shuriken hits at close range, and then E can be either a finisher or an escape. At 4, with this build, you'll be taking Shuriken Mastery. This talent's received some nerfs over the time, but it's still strong with Q build. This will just help you do more damage. And then once you've fully stacked it, it will mean your trait will refund 2 charges of Shuriken, which will greatly increase your PvE damage with Shingan, and just give you more Shuriken to dish out damage. 7 is variable as before. There's nothing especially synergizes with the build. It's just Cyber Agility maybe has slightly more synergy because you'll get more trait with this build, but it's still your defensive talent tier and will adjust to the enemy team comp. 10 is the same as before, but maybe Dragon Blade is less of a priority. It's still the better ult with this build, but you don't need the E resets from Dragon Blade as much, so X-Strike can be taken a little bit more easily. 13 will be Shingan. This just increases your shuriken damage if you can hit all 3 of them. It's very, very strong. 16, because you won't be doing as many E's as with E-build, Steady Blade isn't quite as strong, and Final Cut will just deal more damage overall. And 20, as before, will be your ult upgrade. That's Q-build. Alright, this will be the last build I'm talking about today. This will be the one-shot build, or the burst damage build. So this starts the same way as E-build with Swift in the Wind, and Strike at the Heart and so on, but we will end up moving into Shingan later. Now, why would you pick this build? Because what it does is it's the most single target burst damage using the combination of the Strike at the Heart, the end damage of the range indicator, and the Shingan, which you can fire immediately upon E-ing back through the target for a guaranteed burst of Shingan. This is an incredible amount of burst damage Genji can deliver, the highest he can deliver, using the combination of Strike at the Heart and Shingan. But you will be giving up talents like Flow Like Water to do it. Now, there'll be some team comps it is hard to get value from Flow Like Water into, but the main reason you'll go this build is if your strategy, your team fight strategy, depends on blowing someone up and getting a first kill, then it can be a good choice to go into this one-shot build. Sometimes you just think, I can't get value from Flow Like Water, perhaps, or the full Q build doesn't look attractive because you won't be able to poke very long. You won't be able to get a lot of value from Qs, so it's important just to get in there and get the kill. So at 7 will be variable as normal. 10 will be Dragon Blade for that burst damage on a single target. With the E, Shingan, and then R. Shingan will be our 13. 16 will be Final Cut with this build as well, and then the Dragon becomes me. So how this combo works, you have to practice it a bit, but it's quite simple. You just E through so the end hits and immediately Q back to get the Shingan value. Toggle cooldowns and do that again. So it's a lot of burst damage, and if the enemy team has something like a Kel'Thas, it's very strong. Or even like tanks with high hitboxes, where you can safely E in, get a kill. Can be good. It's a bit more of a niche build, but I've seen it picked in Korea especially. Alright, first tip. My first tip with Genji is about his quick cast settings. So if you go into the hotkeys menu, quick cast settings for Genji, you can see that I have Shuriken, quick cast turned off, and Swift Strike turned off. Normally with my base profile I have almost all abilities on quick cast. I much prefer it, but when it comes to Genji, I saw early on when I was learning him that some of the best Genji players in the world, such as Rich or Shwimpy, actually have these turned off, and I do think it really helps land the skill shots with Genji in particular. So when it comes to landing E, especially with the Strike at the Heart talent at level 4, if you have quick cast off, you can see on the range indicator it shows you the point where you'll get extra damage if you hit the enemy in. And I also find it just helps me land the skill shot, and especially at max range you can see exactly where it's going to take you. In terms of the Q, I find that having the quick cast setting turned off helps me land max range poke and delay, especially if you're trying to delay a capture, but it also helps you land Shingan. The main tip I have for landing Shingan, the main trick to it, is you have to be as close as possible. It's really hard to land Shingan at any kind of distance, if not impossible. There's a certain range where it becomes possible, which is very close to small hitbox heroes, but generally the way you'll be doing it is getting right into the target's face. So if you were to E on them with the one-shot build, you'll get that extra move speed from your level 1 Swift as the Wind, and that will actually help you stay right in the face of the target and land multiple Shingan hits. Of course it's much easier in PvE when you've just got to land them against a boss, or the Immortal Battlefield or something like that. So tip 2, deflect. You can use it aggressively. It's not only a defensive tool, and it can be used to secure kills where perhaps otherwise the enemy hero would get away. To get a lot of procs of the deflect damage, look for PvE sources that can be guaranteed, such as towers, forts, minion waves, the boss on Braxis, that kind of thing. And also look out for enemy tracers that maybe don't know what the hold attack command is. I mentioned this before, but I want to illustrate the value in spell armor on Genji at 7. When versing tracers or Kel'Thases with their ultimates, they'll be looking to use them on you after they see you use deflect. With this knowledge, you can often bait them into wasting the heroics on you and turning a team fight by just proccing the spell armor, easily surviving the ultimate, and gaining an ultimate advantage. X-Strike is best used in the manner, I think, similar to Illidan's Metamorphosis, where you use it to juke and evade enemy ultimate abilities that they've cast in a panic from having been dived. When picking X-Strike, make sure to think of it as a tool of avoiding crowd control and damage, in addition to being what it obviously is, which is AoE burst damage follow-up. I'd say the number one rule of using Dragon Blade is to not waste protect before you have to Dragon Blade. Never start Dragon Blading, or very, very rarely start Dragon Blading without deflect off cooldown, because Dragon Blade will paint a big target on your head and you're going to need deflect up to deal with it. A second note would be, when using Dragon Blade, to take note of what allied ultimates can do to help you, or what allied abilities can do to help you, such as Divine Shield or Cleanse and Ancestral Healing, that kind of thing. And also to take note of what the enemy can do to interrupt Dragon Blading, such as Twilight Dream. Your job will be to make sure you're in a position to be assisted by your ally, interrupt abilities and make sure you avoid the enemy abilities that will interrupt it. Often you'll do this by Dragon Blading, not straight away. Leads me to the third point, which is don't initiate the fight with Dragon Blade. Dragon Blade, if you just E into the team, whip out your Dragon Blade and start going to town, you're going to die immediately and do very little damage in the process. Dragon Blading should be used to secure a kill, maybe midway through the fight on average, to secure a kill with Swift Strike, Dragon Blade, or when you're in a position to safely put out large amounts of AoE damage. You have to keep an eye on the cooldowns, on the CC, the enemy health bars, to see when is the right time to Dragon Blade. Alright, that would be it from me. That was my Genji guide. I hope people enjoyed it. Put a bit more work into it this time. Hopefully makes the video a little bit more entertaining to watch than the last one. Improving every day, folks, you know. Please support my team Aztech in the HGC ANZ Premier Division. We play on Thursdays, we do our best. Try and play some good at the video game, you know. That's it for me. See you next time.